Serena. Serena. So we can start. No, we just wait 1 minute more. Okay. We can start. Thank you to OneBridge, to Idomeni to be here. Thank you to Giacomo Rui and Serena Gianazzi. You know that GeoBalkans is a project financed by the European Union. It is an Erasmus Plus project. The aim of this project is to plan a MA, a master, and a PhD in GeoBalkan studies. So our group of research is questioning what is GeoBalkan studies, how can we understand these programs, and starting from the question, what are the Balkans? What is the Balkans? What are the relationship, for example, between Verona, that is a member of this project, and the Balkans? We have just finished a session starting to think to the PhD. And for us, for example, the relationship with the NGOs can be strategic and important because we understand the role of the university, not just like a place where of knowledge that remains inside the academia. But for us, the role of the university is in contact with the territory, with civil society, with NGOs, especially when we want to address political issues like GeoBalkans want to do. So we have just invited you, thank you for being here, to tell us the story of your association and to tell us what do you do, very simply. And for us, this is also a possible answer to the question, what are the Balkans? Where do they start? Where do they finish? For example, the story of OneBridge to Idomeni somehow crosses the borders and crosses the story of the Balkans. It is a part of the Balkans in Verona. So what we ask you is just to present yourself and to present OneBridge to Idomeni to GeoBalkans. Thank you for being here. Who starts? Jacopo.
Okay. So first of all, I would like to say thanks to Professor Bernini, Massimo Praro, and Irene Villa for inviting us here today. And I would like to say thanks to University of Verona, Centro di Ricerca Politesse, and all GeoBalkans group. So I'm Jacopo Rui. I'm a co-founder of OneBridge to Idomeni Onlus. That is an Italian organization that was founded by Veronese people. We started in 2016, and we started with a first mission to the Idomeni camp. So as may some of you knows, in 2015 there has been a very massive flows of people that were fleeing from the Syrian conflict into European countries, where more than 1 million people reached the northern country of the European Union. And since during 2015 was possible to cross all the borders of the Balkan countries, so arriving from Turkey for people on the move, that's how today we will call refugee people, asylum seekers, migrants as well. We used to call people on the move. For people on the move was possible to cross the borders from Greece to North Macedonia, to Serbia, Croatia, Hungary, Slovenia. So in the matter of like 2 weeks, they were able to move from Turkey into Germany. So this situation completely changed in 2016 because it happened that all the borders that were possible to cross they started to close. So like a waterfall from the northern border between Hungary and Serbia, all the borders started to close until the last border between the North Macedonia and Greece. So Idomeni is a really small village, like 20 houses, just at the border. And it's famous because, as you can imagine, when there is a big flow of people that from a day to another are getting stopped by the closure of the border, they start to increase the number just above the border. So in few weeks, that camp that we used to call a non-governative camp because it was not legal, it was not planned to be there. In few weeks during the winter between 2015 and 2016, more than 15,000 people were at that border. They were stuck. Like as you can see in this imagine. They were stuck with camping tents. They were stuck into Idomeni is like surrounded by corn grounds. There are like for harvesting. There is no structures. What we did, it's something that a lot of people since that time started it. We just started a collection of goods in Verona, and because this camp was on the newspaper, on the television, on the social media, a lot of people were aware about the situation, and a lot of people decided to support us, giving us what we were asking. So camping tents, and it's similar about what we are seeing now with the Ukraine war. And also, before the Ukrainian situation, the Idomeni camp was the biggest refugee camp since the World War II into a European country. So now after the war started in Ukraine, we have seen something bigger. And so a lot of people from a lot of different countries of European Union started to move and to come to Idomeni to support the people that were stuck there, because there was no institutional response. So there was no UNHCR, there was no MSF, and I mean the big machine of the institutional NGOs, they were not prepared about this situation. So the grassroots organizations like us, or the civil society, we can say, built by themselves the first response about this crisis. So we started as an informal group. We started with no professionalism. We started with no tools at all. We were just in a goodwill approach, and we went there, and we started to do what was needed. So the basic needs: cooking, distribution, and supporting also financially the organization that were providing this stuff. And since then, when we came back in Verona, we seen that there was interest about our job. I mean, what we did, our approach, and I think this is a first point that you should record, that Verona is sensitive about what happens in the Balkans, because since the war of the Balkans, the 90s war, a lot of people kind of remember what they did at that time. So when there is something happening in the Balkans, a lot of people feels like involved about the situation in the Balkans, because a lot of them, and a lot of people from Italy. Sorry.
Which memory do you
I mean, the war from 1991 until 1999.
No, but I would like when were you born?
1994. So
You feel like there was a memory, for example, in your family. So you are speaking of the.
yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm saying that. I don't want to say old people, but yeah, people that during 90s, no, but people that during 90s did something. They were people that from Verona during the war in 90s, they went into Balkans to support.
That's interesting for us, because tomorrow we will meet
Interzona.
Interzona, and the history of Interzona starts
Exactly.
during the war. So these are this
Topic of
people,
tomorrow. No.
not so old people you are referring to. Yes, but and you are one of the founders of this.
Of One Bridge, yes.
But is was One Bridge Idomeni founded just for, by people of your age? Or
No, exactly. Exactly. We had an old person that is Giulio Saturni. He's the president of One Bridge Idomeni, and he did what I was saying. So during the 90s with the scouts of Verona.
He was a scout.
He was a scout, yeah, a boy scout. Okay. Here in Italy and in Verona especially, and in Veneto as well, the boy scouts are kind of big, and especially during the 90s, they did a lot.
Verona is well known for fascist city, very conservative city, very Catholic city, but there is also a very big part of lefty.
Yes. Yeah.
The part of this is full of organization of volunteers. It's a very, very strong civil society, very engaged in all sorts of things. So there is another side of Verona that has appeared in the newspaper.
Exactly.
And so the story comes from there. From the
Yeah. He went in I think 2001 in a refugee camp in Croatia, and he also introduced me. I'm from the Boy Scouts too, and also Serena. A lot of people in One Bridge are from the Boy Scouts. He introduced me to the Balkans when we went in Bosnia in 2013 for another purpose, but. Still, there is a kind of a tension about and interest about what happened, because this support that we received in 2016, it happened to us that many times. Also, the last year when happened the situation in Bosnia, Serena will explain us later about Lipa camp, that camp that was set up in fire. I mean, there was a fire. And that all the images and the pictures that we've seen in the, again, newspapers, social media, television, we did the same. We did a collection of goods to bring into Bosnia, and there were hundreds of people coming to us, bringing also a lot of unuseful stuff, but I mean, they were with good intentions. So I think it's something that it's good to know, and Interzona will tell you more. So the situation in 2016, let's go back to Idomeni. In 2016, the situation about the so-called Balkan route changed, because, as we know, in 2016, the European Union signed an infamous pact with Turkey. So that pact basically is a pact where the European countries are paying Turkey government to keep people inside their country. So to not allow them theoretically to move out of Turkey. And this is a first step into a political process that is called the externalization of the borders. So European Union is not anymore inside their own borders, but they are, with these political tools and these political pacts, moving forward the borders to another country, considering Turkey a safe third country for refugee people, for people that wants to seek asylum into Turkey. As we know, unfortunately, Turkey is not so respectful about the human rights, just to stay polite. So European Union is like paying Turkey to be the watchdog of the flows of refugees coming from the Middle East area into the Balkan region. And the second step that is a consequence about this first step, the EU-Turkey deal, is that the pathways, the routes that are in the Balkan region that people are crossing to try to reach Europe, they became more unsafe and more dangerous for their lives. So basically, with this pact, with the pact, the EU-Turkey pact deal, there is no anymore any chance for people that wants to apply for asylum from Middle East area, from Northern Africa. There is no legal way to get into Europe. Okay, so crossing the Balkan region, it means for them that they had the only chance to pay for smugglers, for human traffickers, and to risk their life crossing also dangerous fields. I mean, the Balkan region is full of mountains, as you know. It's not that easy for people to cross rivers, to cross mountains, to cross the winter as well. So what we have seen is that after this EU-Turkey deal in 2017, the number of people crossing into the Balkan region, of course, decreased a lot, but it didn't stop completely because, I mean, borders are not impenetrable. Even if you build a fence, even if you militarize them completely, there are always, I want to say one thing. I mean, when I say that the borders are closed only for people on the move, for tourists and for goods and for the trade trucks, of course, open. You can go on vacation in Croatia, in Greece, in Serbia as well, and nobody would stop you. So only there is also a racialization of the freedom of movement of the people in this case. So maybe it's something that was obvious, but was important to say. So in 2017, more people started to move from Greece, that was set up as a big camps country. So that in 2016, the European Union also pays a lot of millions to Greece to set up like more than 50 governative camps that were completely unprepared to host all that people. And also the asylum process in Greece is like very dysfunctional and very slow and very corrupted. So, but Greece became like a big camp country. But people didn't want to stay in Greece because there is no future in Greece. And if you have the possibility and the chance to move out of Greece, people decided still to do it, even if it was dangerous for them. And in 2017, we moved to Belgrade, because there was another situation, another informal camp that was set up into the barracks, so very old factories around the main railway station of Belgrade. If someone knows Belgrade, you know, okay. Exactly. So in Savamala part now is completely new, and all the barracks that were in that place completely cleaned. So also there is a gentrification process in that area of Belgrade, and started with the eviction of that camp, where we were operating in 2017, providing breakfast. And also in that occasion, this informal situation was completely supported by grassroots organization. And this fact is still happening. And in every case, there is a not legal situation. Grassroots organizations are present. And this is another topic that started from 2017 till today. And the topic is about the criminalization of solidarity. So in the Balkan region, it's not that easy to practice solidarity, okay, to do solidarity to people, because what we have seen is that in every country, starting from Greece to Macedonia to Serbia to Bosnia, the local government and institution, they set up one only legal way to stay and host people in the country, and the rest of the solidarity practices that maybe we want to do, that we want to, I don't want to say bring, okay, and then try to avoid this word, but once they set up one legal solution for the emergency, for the crisis that after 2015 is not a crisis anymore. I mean, we are talking about maybe the biggest numbers are like 100,000 of people. And recently, like 3 months ago, we have seen like 6 billion people hosted in Europe from Ukraine, and not even a word about is a problem. Okay, we are facing a situation in the Balkans where since 2016, every winter there is an emergency. So the countries, so in 2016 it was Greece, in 2017 was Serbia. They set up a camp system, like 20 camps that, depending on the moment, they can do closed or open, depending also where they are located and the government that is running that country, and a lot of different factors, but mostly they are open, the most part of the camps, but there are also detention camps. And in 2017, we were at the barracks, and also in that case, that situation was evicted and people was moved to legal camp, and all the solidarity practices that grassroots organization were, let's say, providing, started to become more and more like attentioned by the social media, attentioned by the police investigations, attentioned by the local institutions. So also operating in Serbia was difficult after this eviction, because all the people were moved into camps, and we still don't want to operate inside camps, because camps is the only solution that the institutions are providing. We think that there could be other solutions, and that's how our work started to develop. So since 2017, we started to set up our symbolic bridge as a bridge that it could be run in 2 directions. So from one hand, we go to provide goods to support people on the move, to be in solidarity with them. And so we go to the Balkans, to the country that maybe in that moment is more in need. And to the other hand, we try to come back and to Verona, and we try to report what is happening there, to raise awareness about what's happening like next door to Verona, because seriously, from Verona to Bihać, that Serena will explain us later, the situation in Bihać in Bosnia and Herzegovina is like 6 hours driving, is like seriously next door, which we try to raise awareness. And that for us, it was not, I mean, this double movement of depart and return, it's something because we care about our city. I mean, because as Professor Bernini was saying before, Verona is not an easy city to do these kind of practices, to speak about topics like migration, like solidarity with people, non-white people, okay, basically, is not that easy. And we want to change this. We want to give the chance to the city, to the community of this city, to the society of this city to speak about it, to understand better, and to try to think together solution about how to live together and to account European institution about the violation of the human rights that are happening in the Balkan region. Unfortunately, I would say since 30 years. I mean, the fact that the Balkan region are so, let's say, wild for the protection of the human rights, it's like a consequence also about what happened during the 90s. I can say it's something not related with that. Every time, every minute that we operate in the Balkans, we have to keep in our mind that there was a war, and you can see it everywhere, especially in Bosnia and Herzegovina, but also is in the texture of the society, of the people. And when we started to operate in 2018 in Bosnia and Herzegovina, that became more present inside our job, because the route changed again because in 2017 has been the Hungarian government built the infamous Orban wall, that is the more than 300 kilometers wall between Hungary and Serbia. And the route changed and tried to cross from Serbia into Croatia, and also from Bosnia into Croatia. And in Bosnia and Herzegovina, having migration flows inside their countries was not something easy for the people, because people had to face again something that they already faced 30 years ago. And it's something that we had to deal with that, because in 2018, Bosnian people were providing a lot of solidarity actions, a lot of donations, because they faced as well what does it mean to flee from a conflict and to have a conflict inside their home. But also in that case, Bosnia is another very dysfunctional country, I must say, and corrupted as well. And operating inside the country is not legally admitted if you don't start a really long procedure to register yourself. But from 2018 to 2019, nobody was caring about this, because the government was preparing itself to do the same thing that happened in Serbia and in Greece. At some point, they built the only solution. So it's building a very big, massive camps to keep people inside, and then to exclude all the other organizations, grassroots organizations, and exclude also all the other practices. So I'm finished now, giving the word to Serena to speak about also another, unfortunately, another tragic, how can I say it, evolution of the Balkan route. That is something that we are facing every day. So since 2018, since Belgrade and the crossing of borders between Serbia and Croatia, so when the route is now in contact with a European Union country, that is Croatia, but that is a country that is not the Schengen area, we started to see an increasing number of pushbacks. So people that are trying to cross the border between a non-EU country with a EU country, they are being pushed back by the police. They are beaten every time. They are robbed about what they have with them. So it's also in that sense really wild, the situation, because we can see a pushback in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea when there is the local Coast Guard that is bringing back the boat that have left Libya. But on the Balkan region, it's something that happens every day, every hour, and there has been organizations that were reporting the pushbacks, and they collected more than 25,000 pushbacks since 2016. And this organization is called Border Violence Monitoring Network. So our project from Serbia also starting into Bosnia and Herzegovina. We opened there in 2019 our first community center. That was a place where people during the winter had the chance to find a hot meal and to share in Sarajevo. For all the winter into all 2019 winter, we have been operating in Sarajevo, providing hot meals, providing basic needs, so a safe place for the people that were living on the streets. But as I was saying before, in May 2019, we got evicted by police with no violence to us, but just like you don't have the right papers, go away from the Bosnia for 1 year or for 2 weeks, depending about how the papers were not correct. I mean, the visa that we had and stuff like this. Okay, so Serena, I will, if you wanna proceed.
Okay, so I just finished the evolution of our projects, talking a bit also about 2020, when during the pandemic, we were talking with other 2 organizations that were present in Thessaloniki, in Greece, and they were working inside and outside a refugee camp next to the city of Thessaloniki. The camp is Diavata. And during the pandemic, when we were forced to be home, we started to understand the situation in Greece, to better understand the situation in Greece, and to study the camps and how they were organized and how they were supported. And in June, July 2020, when the borders opened, we decided with these 2 other organizations to open a project in the camp that is present in the city of Corinthos. And we decided to go in this camp because it was quite new. This camp opened in September 2019, and it was meant to be a temporary camp. And it's funny, this word, because all the camps are meant to be temporary, but this one was just like to free the hotspots. So people from the islands, from Lesbos, Samos, Chios, were sent to Corinthos, and also like new arrivals from the land border with Turkey were sent them there to be resent to other more long-term camps. And we decided to go in this camp because of his nature. There were no services, so children could not go to school. There were no services, like also like recreational services. Also the medical support was not so good, and there were no associations working inside or outside the camp. So we decided to open an informal school where we started to have lessons like English, but also like mathematics or cooking classes, trying to follow the needs of the population, and also to create a place where they could actually go and have fun outside the camp. Because as Jacopo was saying before, we decided to operate outside the camp. So the school that we first opened in the city of Corinto is actually inside the city, in the city center, that is more or less 10 minutes walking from the camp. And we have to say that in this case, it's like it's a lucky position, because most of the camps in Greece and on the Balkan route are really far away from the cities of the country. So in 2020, we decided to, in July 2020, we opened this school. And in autumn, winter of the same year, we opened a community center where we developed different services. And the main one is a fish shop for food and hygiene items that is developed with a system of points, and each family or each individual has a card with some points, and each week they can go and they can actually shopping. They can choose what they want, what they need. And we decided to develop this kind of free shop because it gives dignity to people, because with normal distribution, people cannot actually choose what they need, what they want, but they just receive. In this way, they can go there and they can feel like in a normal daily life routine. Maybe then if Jacopo wants to explain better. Inside the center, there is also bike sharing where people can book and use bicycles for one day or for more days if there are specific needs, like to go to work. I hope that my computer is not bothering, but today he decided to become a farmer. And so we have this bike sharing that is really interesting and really useful for the population of the camp. And also with the support of another association, medical association, we also give medical support and support in buying tickets to go to Athens to the hospital in Athens, because in Corinthos the hospital is quite small, so it doesn't have all the services that they need, and also tickets to go to the lawyer for like discuss the situation and the request for asylum. So in Corinthos, we are still running with these other two organizations this project that is going really well, and we are implementing the activities, trying to understand what the people actually need, and also trying to follow also the how can I say it, like the fluctuation of population and the changes that are happening inside the camp, because on the Balkan route, the situation is always moving and people change quite fast. also. In Greece is a little bit different, in Bosnia in particular, and in Serbia, people is arriving and going away really fast. And then last year this year in January, we opened also a project in Athens. The project is a sort of info point where people can come and have a place where they can talk about their situation, and we try to to help them, to support them in finding the right organization that is dealing with that specific problem, so they don't have to look alone. They don't waste a lot of time trying to understand the situation, because Athens is really a jungle. In this way, there is a support in the understanding of the situation, and in helping them to go in the right place where they can actually have the right support. And so those are the projects that we have in Greece. And always in 2021, we decided to support also some realities in Bosnia and Herzegovina, in specific in Bihać, where I am now. So we started with the support of a Bosnian organization that is U Pokretu, that means movement. And this organization opened, with our support, community center, a youth center, where inside there are activities, both educational, both and also recreational for the local community, so for young Bosnian guys, for people on the move, and for international volunteers. We also support other international and local organizations that are supporting the people on the move that are outside the camps. Here, to explain a bit the situation, as you can see also on the screen, there is this word, the game, that probably you know, but I just explain it really, really fast. Game is a word that people on the move chose to describe their attempt to informally cross the borders. And it's an ironic term because it describes the peculiarity of this attempt, because people cross the border illegally and they don't know if they will reach their destination. So because of the pushbacks that I will explain you in a second, they can spend also years trying to cross the borders to arrive to Germany, Italy, Spain, France. So this name is ironic, even if it's quite sad, because as I said, people don't know if they can reach the place, and they don't know how many times they will repeat this attempt. And there are different kind of game. There is the walking game that is quite used here where I am in Bihać, and is the crossing of the borders, the green borders, through woods and forests. And here is quite dangerous because there are still landmines, and also because during winter it's really cold. And there is the boat game that we hear quite often, that is famous in Turkey and Greece, on the islands, that now is quite blocked because of floods. And there is the track game, that is the attempt to reach the destination going inside trucks, camion. And also a boat game, as we know mostly in Patra, that is a city in a port city in Greece that we know because it's like the arrival point of the ferries from Italy to go on vacation. And there people try to enter in these ferries, entering in trucks, or also in some situations jumping in the sea and trying to climb the ferries. So there are different kind of games, but in all these games there is the pushback. I mean, it's really present, the pushback, that is when the people is crossing the border, they are forced back to the country where they were before, or there are these chain pushbacks where they are forced back in all the countries until also Turkey or Greece, maybe from Italy. And these pushbacks are normally, I have some, okay, here I have some pictures, and there is like how can I say, like a sort of procedure for the pushbacks, where normally the cell phones are destroyed, because cell phones are super useful for them to communicate with the families, to communicate with the associations that are giving support, and to like understand where they are going through the use of Google Maps. And talking about the importance of the cell phones, also one of our projects of support in Bosnia, but also in Serbia and in different other places, is like a charging box that is made with battery of like car, and it helps to charge the phones also like in the middle of a forest where they usually live, or like in a spots, abandoned houses. So this project is really useful because, as I said, the cell phone is super important for the game, but also when they are stuck in cities, because it's the only way to communicate and to understand what to do next. And another thing that is done during the pushback is that police, because the pushbacks normally are done by the police or Frontex. I don't know if you heard about all the situation with Frontex, and they take the shoes or the laces of the shoes, because in this way, normally they use shoes like walking shoes, because they have to walk for long distances, and they take the shoes because in this way they are not able anymore to walk, to keep going. So it's a way to delay the next attempt to do the game. And also they take, especially during winter, like jackets, because it's difficult then to find other clothes. And this is another thing that we do. We collect material, we collect clothes in Italy to support the people on the move, the associations that do distributions because there is a big need of these items, because it's something that is going really fast. There is a big need of shoes because a lot of people is trying the game, and this game often like brings to the lack of shoes. In some situation, and quite often we have to say, even if it's really bad, there is also violence during the pushbacks. Here there is just a picture of one kind of violence that is like they are beaten with sticks, but also there is the use of fire guns or electricity, the taser, or there is also the use of dogs that are sent to people. And so it's quite common to find violences during pushbacks. And this kind of pushback is like a pushback on walking or like track game, but there is also the pushback when they try to reach the islands of Greece with boats, where they are taken, and even if they arrive in Greece, they take them, they put it on a boat, and they, without like the motor, and they just like push them until they reach again the Turkish part of the sea, and they are taken from the Turkish police. So there are less arrivals on Greece. The first image is interesting because was taken like by a hidden camera. So in the last period, we recorded many cases of videos or photos by journalists or associations that were, or directly from the people that were experiencing the pushback, where we can actually see these pushbacks, because normally both from the police and from Frontex, they are not, they deny these actions. So it's really important that we have some material, because in this way there is material to proceed against these kind of situations. So what we are trying to do here, apart from supporting this association that is doing a different job, because one thing that is not really considered normally in the humanitarian setting is also like the actual support, or like I will say psychological support, but it's not psychological support, but like to give activities that give them the possibility to do something else while they are waiting for the next game, so they don't spend all days thinking about their situation. And it's the same thing that we are trying to do in Greece. That is something that we really care, that we want to give also not only first aid, only first support, but also something that will give them dignity, and like they will become again like subjects and not like just objects of this situation, of this whole situation. So we support this Bosnian association, and also other associations with collection of material, with charging box for the cell phones, and also we did fundraising for food, because it's really important, like, to distribute food, because food is used to heat the water, to eat, to drink, but also like to heat themselves, because it's really cold during the winter in Bosnia. So it was a really useful action. And I think I finished. I can talk briefly about the project that we have in Verona, or you want to talk about something else, Jacopo?
No, I mean, would be nice to collect some questions if there are. I would like just to add one thing more about what Serena was saying. That also is important for GeoBalkans group. We are not only providing humanitarian support in Bosnia, even if it's difficult, but one of the aim that we try to reach once we operate in Greece, but especially in Bosnia, with the project that she was saying before. So the supporting of this local organization that is building this community center for young people of the city is also because we cannot think we should not think that I mean, our action is coming from the Western country into the Balkan region to provide help, to bring needs, and then we can come back home and saying we did our job and think that we did our job and is enough like this. As we can see in Verona, but especially in countries as Bosnia and Herzegovina and in Greece, the migration and this kind of situation related with the migration, and when I say this, I say the pushbacks, the increasing violence that is happening at the borders between the Balkan countries, it's something that it's not something that doesn't leave a kind of a sign. I mean, a society that accepts that there are violence every day at 2 kilometers of your home is a society that is getting used about this violence. So the violence can increase more and more. So we have also to think about solutions about this. So trying to set up a community center for young people in Bosnia, it means I don't know, it's kind of investing for the future. And it's the kind of the same job that we are doing in Verona. There is another project that we didn't have time to speak about, but we are going into schools in Verona, licei and istituti tecnici. I don't know in English, sorry, and gymnasiums and technical schools, okay, and to talk about this kind of stuff. And also in Bosnia, for the local youth is important, because Bosnia have seen faced a diaspora since the end of the war there, and local youngs, they don't have anything to do if not like getting drunk every day, abusing of drugs, and trying to reach enough money to go and find a work into Europe, European Union countries. So the migration will increase in the next years. Everybody is saying, and we have seen it since the last 20 years, and everyone is saying that for the next 20 years, migration into Europe will increase. And the Balkan route will be one of the routes that people will decide to take to try to get into Europe. So if we don't work into the societies and into what in the last 5 years we have seen happening in the Balkans, it will become more and more dangerous for the people on the move to cross Balkans. The Mediterranean Sea is already the first most dangerous border at the war. and the Balkan region, also because of the presence of landmines and also the police violence is becoming another one. So it's something to keep in mind when we think about the GeoBalkans, the geophilosophy of the Balkans. The societies need to get maybe healed with some practices about the daily presence of violence increasing into them. So, okay, I also would like to collect questions that there are.
Thank you very much to both of you. First of all, for what you are doing with One Bridge to Idomeni, and thank you for your talks. Are there questions? Yes, there is one.
Yes, thank you very much for this important presentation, but also for the important project and everything that you do. My question was about, I was curious about the relation that you entertained in your Greek project. I was curious about the relation that you had with the local population. I mean, what was the relation between the inside? Also, because you said that you had a school, for example, that was actually situated in the city, in Corinthos, I think. So I was curious about the relation with the local population, because, I mean, that's in a very different way, but that's also a country that is not finding itself in an easy situation economically, socially. The local population is undergoing as well tragic events. But what usually happens, even in a place like Italy, for example, that is not in the same situation like Greece, although in a difficult situation as well, what happens usually is that there is a kind of rhetoric, local rhetoric by politicians, by the media, by, you know, predominant discourses about, okay, the Italians first, for example. So this exacerbates feelings in the local population, like, okay, of hostility rather than solidarity. So we come first, and that's also, we are in a bad situation, we are in crisis. That's why we cannot afford all this to foreigners, and you know, and so this increases the lack of solidarity. So I was wondering what kind of reaction, or anyway, what kind of relation there was between your project and the city and the local population. What kind of responses, what kind of interaction there was between the inside and the outside of the project? Also, another little question I was curious about the management of the choice in the other project where you mentioned that people you didn't want to give, so to transform people into mere receivers, passive receivers of things, but you had established like systems so that people could choose what they needed and what they could take. I was curious about how you managed to do that. I think Serena mentioned the point system. This is just a curiosity that I had, if you could explain how you managed that. So these two questions, thank you.
Yeah, it is a pity that the Greek part of the team is not present because of the coronavirus, but we will. Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
it's okay if we collect more some questions. Yes, because the time is
Okay. So no, it really struck me what you said about how society, let's say, lives with violence around and uses to these kind of conditions. I mean, this is something that that connects Italy and the Balkans, not in such a random way. Like I mean, it's not that some nice persons from Verona, from otherwise, let's say, fascist Verona, decided that they should move within the framework of solidarity, of help, of friendship. It's not, I mean, let's say, I think that the Balkan route was enacted after the Mediterranean route became not that dangerous, but actually deadly after the end of Mare Nostrum, no? So, and then the Syrian conflict was some kind of a turning point, and people on move decided to try to go from Turkey into Greece, because the Mediterranean became very deadly route. And then you had the tipping point with Salvini, you know? So it's not a random connection. I mean, it is very important one, very, I'm happy to hear. I knew about your work, I mean, from the beginning, because in that period I was also active on the other side of the border in Macedonia. I'm from there. And I also know, I want to ask one question that is divided in two. The first one is, have you managed to establish, I don't know, lines of cooperations with local NGOs or local initiatives that don't have to be NGOs, local persons in the Balkans? I know that, okay, Bosnia and Greece, because you had very precise projects there, but otherwise, because I mean, the Balkan route is also Macedonia, also Serbia. And have you established also, let's say, some kind of cooperation with other existing Italian organizations, like, let's say, Rivolti ai Balkani, you know? And are there others beside Rivolti ai Balkani? Let's say, are there others in Trieste because of the closeness with Slovenia and Bosnia, Croatia also? So this is my question.
Other questions?
Thank you. It was reported by the London Guardian a few months ago that the border at Bihać was patrolled not only by Croatian border police and Frontex, but also by para-police officers in plain clothes, in black overalls, and that the most brutal acts of violence were committed by those officers who were not only Croatian, but from other European EU countries as well. Is that true from what you know? And what does that and the involvement of Frontex tell us about wider, what's the word? Wider involvement of the European Union in these brutal practices? Is it that Croatian border police is basically doing the dirty work for the European Union, just the way that Erdogan's regime was doing in Turkey?
Okay.
It's a lot. My question, maybe I don't know if it is a question, just would like to insist on the political value of what you do, because you use the word humanitarian. There is a strong ethic commitment in what you do. You inform. You have a pedagogic end in the teaching to how to confront violence, but there is also a strong political commitment. I mean, and when I mean political, I mean that in my view, you are defending an idea of justice that is superior to how Europe and every country of the Balkans in this moment interpret the value of justice. And so starting from this reflection, what I wanted to ask you is, how do you manage in if you always manage, and if you want to assist to answer this question, to remain inside the borders of legality. What do you mean? Because what you are doing is support people in the move, and of course their moving is not legal, given the limited idea of justice that is interpreted by the European Union and the Balkans country. So how do you? I think I know it is risky, and I know it is difficult. What are your choices? How do you manage to have to do with these issues and with this problem? If there is something that is shared in your association, is it something that is also given to the responsibility of each of you? What are your strategies? Because of course you are helping people in doing illegal things, and what is the limit? You cannot superare, cross. Yes. Or sometimes what are the limits that sometimes you decide to cross?
Okay. I might start, Serena, and if you want to complete, do you agree? Okay. So let's start from Greece. In Greece, when we arrived, Corinthos is not like a very solid city. Okay, I think it was or it's still run by kind of center-right measure that said when the camp was built, said something like I will surround the camp with garbage to close it. So and in Corinthos there is also a detention center since 2008. So it's very kind of militarized city, also because the camp is inside the military area that it's like full in Greece. There are like plenty of them. And when we decided to work there, we started with a low profile, because in Greece, if you, please don't tell, I mean, too much people, we are not registered in Greece, okay? Because becoming registered in Greece, as in Serbia, as in Bosnia, it means that you become targetable by institutions, by police. And also this is a part of an answer of your question. I mean, we are not illegal, but we are not completely legal, because as I was saying before, to become completely legal, it means that you have to adapt yourself, your work, your ideas also to the main system of the managing of migration that is in all the Balkans. So big camps, big organization, a lot of funds, a lot of services that responds to standards where you have to pass from no to yes, from 1 to 10, and there is no relation with people. And also because I was saying before, we need to heal the connection between two different communities. In that case, the local community and the people on the move community. So we need a third agent. In that case, we try to be the third agent, okay? To also build new places between the two main places, the city and the camp. So open a community center where, of course, the main target is the people from the camp, but starting with a low profile, taking care about the place, the street in front of the place, saying hello to people that were coming and asking, what are you doing? And in the first moments, there were a lot of people saying, you NGO, you NGO are coming, and also Greeks are in need. And we were saying, if you want to join, let's join. I mean, and but in the first moments we were very, very low profile, because you cannot arrive and say, hi, I'm here, I wanna completely change everything. And I must say, step by step, we have seen more and more people getting closer to us, and trying to get involved with our activities, but also accepting us inside the city. And we reached a very big moment where we were doing sports activity with a bunch of people from the camp. And we have been with people on the move inside a ice cream shop. And the guy from the ice cream shop started to talk with us, blah, blah, blah. And it ended up that he was a manager of a soccer team in Corinthos that was founded by refugees that had fled from Cyprus. Okay. So we managed to set up a very big like event into the main stadium, playing refugees against Greeks and with all the families. I mean, it's one big event. It's not something that we maybe change. Okay, it's not a process, but something that once it's set up, it remains in the mind of the people from the camp and from the Greece people. That there was that event, and in that event, during that event, a lot of Greek people brought us a lot of food. Okay, I mean it's once a year, but it's better than never. Okay, it's better one big event than one little. I don't know. That's the approach that we try to set up in that case, and we try sometimes to do these kind of things, but also we receive every day the support of like professionists, for example, the dentist that give us the chance like once a week to insert few appointments into the schedule of the work. So there are little professionists that maybe supports us in this case because they cannot be a part of a NgO. They have NgO, they have their own job. And also we cannot ask completely the society to bring on itself the effort about to manage this the situation. I think it cannot be completely on the hands of the institutions. It cannot completely in the hands of the society, but we have to find a middle point where there is a participation of the society into this, and there is no more divisions. Okay, just to try to. About the freedom of choice of the system of the free shop distribution. So when there is an emergency, if I have 100 packs of pasta and I have 100 people, I have to provide one pack of pasta for everyone. When there is an emergency, my topic is, I want everyone to have pasta. Okay. But when there is no emergency, why should I not guarantee you the freedom to choose what you want to eat or what kind of shampoo you want to wash yourself? I mean, a refugee governative camp set up in 2019 and still in 2092 is not an emergency. It's not a crisis. It's a system that has been set up. So in this system, why there is the organization and the big institution NGOs that are not providing that right to choose which kind of food you should have your dinner? So that's the idea, and we set up with 3 points, so fake monies. A person comes to the center and say hello, and we made these cards, okay, where we have the name of the person, and we know, and we set up a limit of points that they can use monthly, okay, so they can use them in one day or come in every week. And because our goal is not to support completely the request of the food of the camp. There are 800 people, and we don't have enough funds, but we can allow them to save maybe money, and also allow them to get food they are not receiving from IOM, from the big NGOs. So once they are inside, we have this system point, and they know. We explain them with the translation, and on the card there is everything written. They have appointments because 800 people every day, every week. Theoretically, they must be organized. So we send them. We connect. We speak with them with WhatsApp. Okay, so we have a number of everyone. Hello, you are invited to come this day. Blah blah blah. The people comes inside and they they say, I want this, I want that. The most part is like from Italian shops or Italian, so we discuss if it's better spaghetti or fusilli, and it's funny because you set up a relation with them, and this is so important to set up that kind of relation where they feel treated, and also we treat them as normal person, not as food receiver. Okay, 100,022, that's your food. Hello, Ahmad, how are you? Are you again today here? What you want? I mean, that makes all the difference. And also, your question was about So in Serbia, we are in contact with Click Active, that is local, and to Volontarskie Center Vojvodine. So we are trying to get in contact with them. But mostly we are in contact with like international organizations, okay? Not completely, I mean, we are inside Rivolti Balkani, we speak with I don't know, Are You Serious? Border Violence Monitoring Network with Milena Zajovic. I mean, we try to get in contact with them in Greece and Bosnia as well, but in Serbia, mostly because we don't have main projects in Serbia and in Macedonia, we don't know so much. But if we need it or if we want, we have the way to do that. Okay,
No,
that's
sorry to interrupt you,
okay.
but since we don't have much time,
Okay,
I would like
sorry.
to know if Serena wants to add something and to answer.
Yeah.
Yes, but Serena deals with the guidance of the police. So maybe...
I cannot really hear you.
No, I wanted to say if you want to add something and if you want to answer to the question that was made on the police, on the violence.
Okay, well, adding thing, I think no, I think that Jacopo was perfect in the answers. And about the police, I didn't hear completely the last part of the question because the connection was not really good, but it was if there is like if there are other members of Europe that are dealing with the pushbacks.
It was about paramilitary groups present in Croatia, and what is the role of a European institution with the perpetration of violence or something like this? Yeah, complicity. The complicity. Yeah, the complicity of the European Union with Frontex and the paramilitary groups.
Okay. Well, about Frontex now is becoming the European army to keep outside Europe and people like and a lot of countries are contributing in this, like the last one Italian I say scandal because for me it was really a scandal, that is the involvement of a university in like providing material, geographic material for Frontex. And this, I think that highlights quite good, like the role that European Union, but also like public institutions are giving to Frontex. And about paramilitary, like informal groups, I don't actually know if there are like I don't know, Jacopo, you know maybe better about paramilitary format. That I don't hear.
Yeah, actually, yeah, there was from the Croatian side, it has been video recorded that there was, men with balaclava and with
as Jacopo is saying.
Thank you.
without. So from the Croatian side, probably they were policemen with no signs to not being like.
That was alleged.
Because it happened like 6 months ago that finally someone managed to, we have seen a frame before, to video record a pushback, because in all these years nobody managed to video record the police violence. We only have seen the effects on the skin of the people, and also 2017 one child died because of the pushback between in Shid, between the border between Croatia and Serbia during a pushback. But there has been noticed the presence of paramilitary groups since 2016, especially in Bulgaria, in Hungary. There was maybe some of them in Slovenia. And actually, neo-fascist groups are present in Greek-Turkish border. But they are like the, I don't know, of course, the minority, but they are kind of allowed to do that, because, I mean, if something happened, police can always say, yeah, there was. And yes, but there is the present, and this is something really scary that is still present in the Balkans, paramilitary groups, and we know that what paramilitary groups can do in the Balkans, especially against Muslim people. So that's kind of a problem. Yes, but European Union is there is complicity, and they know everything about the pushbacks. There has been like these reports. The Black Book of Pushback is 2 books of 1,500 pages each, with the collection of these pushback that are being brought to the European Parliament. So they know the Croatia always denied. Even when there were cases of Croatian policemen that were saying from inside, our chiefs are asking us to do this, and I don't want to do it, but I also don't want to lose my job. And they were like, we will investigate stuff. So yeah, that is a fact. Your question? Okay, Serena, do you want to add some?
Legal and illegal justice.
Sorry, but when the microphone is not.
Question was about your idea of justice and what is the relationship of what you do with legality. When do you decide to stay inside the limits of legality? It's different than justice, and when you need to cross these limits. So this is what I said. It is, for me, this is a very political issue, not also ethical, pedagogical, but it is a very political problem that an association like yours have to do with.
I think it's a really complicated issue, because like I speak now about Bosnia, that a lot of organizations are working in an illegal way, giving support, because if you are not registered, you are illegal here in Bosnia, so you cannot give support. So these associations are working in an underground way, and like I think that without these organizations, the situation here would be really bad, because most of the people that are here, most of the people on the move that are here don't want to be in camps, because being in camps means like mostly for Lipa, talking about Lipa, that is a camp that is far away from everything. It's really difficult to reach the cities, and I mean, there is a curfew, you cannot enter with some items. So most of the people want to stay outside the camp, but outside the camp, only organizations and associations connected to UN or that are, as I said, registered can give help. But the registration here is really difficult, as Jacopo was saying, for Greece. Also here in Bosnia is really difficult, and the associations that are trying to register also are facing a lot of problems in the registration. Like I'm the first that I spent a lot of time waiting for my visa, because I'm an international, and even if we are not giving support, direct support, like doing distributions, I'm still like seen as an international that can do that job. So, but at the same time, I think that because I had some experiences with like policemen that stopped me before I was volunteering with another association that is doing distributions, and I had this chat with these policemen that told me that without registration, so these underground activities are complicated, because sometimes there is people that doesn't know what, some organizations don't know what they are doing, and they don't know how to do it. So the system of the registration, so legalize the association, is useful to understand who is doing what, and to have a clear image. So if somebody does something wrong, you know who is doing it. And now it's quite difficult to know who is doing what, because like in this underground situation, it's difficult to understand which organization is doing what. So I think it's quite complicated. I mean, I think there is a limit between the, I mean, I think that the associations here are doing a good work, a good job, keeping, they have a really good structure. I mean, even if they are not legal, they are acting as legal organizations, because they have strict rules, and they collaborate also with organized and registered associations. So it's quite difficult, because like from my point of view, like staying here, and also like experiences in underground association, because now we are collaborating with a registered organization, like the one that we are supporting is registered, because also is Bosnian, and for Bosnian organizations is easier to register, but still quite complicated then to do some kind of activities. I think that there is really the need for these underground associations, because without them, there would not be enough support for the people. But at the same time, I think that there is a need of how can I say it, like regularization, like regularization of the activities. I mean, but this is like something that has to come with the realization of the actual need for this kind of support that sometimes is not seen. And so it's quite difficult to answer to this question, because there are like some positive points in one way and some negative points in the other. So I have struggles to answer to this, because I'm in contact with both the realities, and I see the good things and I see the bad things.
Would you want to add something on this?
Really shortly, yeah, we try to operate as, I mean, taking the risks that are not, I mean, until the consequences of taking that risks will allow us to keep working. Because if we take much risks and we are not allowed anymore to, for example, being present in Bosnia or in Greece, it means that we cannot do anything more. So we have to keep in mind the goal to support people, yeah, the boundaries between supporting people, and also to don't step on on the legality with, I mean, trying to be smart if you have to do this. And we have we have a main idea inside our organization and we try to follow it, but then it depends. I mean, I'm more scared about the consequences in Italy than in Greece, about what could happen depending on the political moment. NGOs has been attacked for years here. It could happen also to us, and when it happens something like this, I mean, it's difficult to go on. So yeah, is another.
No, I think it's important to keep in mind that we are working in a different country with some rules that have to be followed, like so.
And not only laws. I mean, there are also some things that the society, I mean, it's not written on a law, but yeah, exactly. You have to know that you can't do that, for example. And if you know that you don't have to cross that boundary, even if it's theoretically legal, it's better to don't do it. For example, in Greece, from 2 to 5, there is the siesta. You cannot make noise. Is stupid, but if you start to operate from that hour to that hour, I mean, it's not illegal, but it's a social law, and it's better to don't make noise.
So I'm sorry that I really want to thank you, Serena, Jacopo, and your all one bridge to Idomeni for being here, and that you gave a very big contribution to our reflections of what does it mean to think to something like a new subject of study, that is geophilosophy of the Balkans. And of course, one item that is one issue that we have to address is also the work of NGOs and groups like yours. So thank you so much for what you do and for what you said to us, and thank you also for allowing us to record. We will not diffuse it, but just for us. But I think that also the person that could not be present will find very interesting what you say. So thank you so much once again. Thank you. Grazie Serena. Ora termino tutto. Leggere la gestione prima. E qua.
Sì.